Hello, my name is Lisa Johnson, and this is my video on the reflection and work that I have completed for my school library media specialist degree. Embarking on the media specialist program has been a transformative journey, shaping not only my professional trajectory, but also my understanding of the critical role libraries play in education. As you can see on my first page, I have my information. My resume is a link. My professional learning plan, my hours, coursework, and my blog. I'm going to focus on the standards. Standard 1, Teaching for Learning. Skills are at the heart of the media specialist role. Beyond simply curating resources, I've embraced this role as an educator, designing lessons that not only impart information but foster critical thinking, curiosity, and a love for reading. The ability to tailor instruction for diverse learners' learning styles has become a hallmark of my approach, creating an inclusive and engaging educational environment within my library. I used my book trailer storyboard and my universal design unit here to emphasize that teaching for learning skills was the cornerstone of my development. Learning to design lessons that engage diverse learners and foster critical thinking has proven invaluable in my role as media specialist, where education is not just about information and dissemination, but about inspiring a lifelong learner of reading. For Standard 2, Literacy and Reading, the focus on literacy and reading skills underscored the foundational role libraries play in nurturing a reading culture. For me, history is the most powerful narrative, and weaving it into literacy initiates creative and compelling context for stories. By curating historical literature, biographies, and primary sources, I've fostered an environment where students not only develop reading proficiency, but also gain a deeper understanding of different eras, cultures, and perspectives. Historical fiction, in particular, serves as a gateway to transporting readers to several different places in time, enhancing both historical knowledge and literacy skills. By using the mini lessons with my 8th grade students to dive into historical topics, I found that they were genuinely interested in checking out those books in the nonfiction section afterwards. Platforms like Google Classroom and Google Earth can be leveraged to create immersive reading experience. Google Classroom facilities collaborate reading discussions and assignments, fostering a sense of community among readers. It's not just about developing reading proficiency, it's about fostering a love for reading and appreciation of history and the skills needed to navigate the information-rich landscape of the 21st century. This is also where I put my staff development. I taught my teachers how to use the Google Forms. After using the Google Forms, they took a course evaluation, and I am still working with some of my teachers, teaching them the various things they can use within Google Classroom as far as forms or other things to make it easier to connect to students. The mini lessons that I used here can be used responsibly to teach students about how to use technology correctly. There's the rubric, and they were able to create a newspaper. Connecting history with reading I often found that students were better writers as well, because the topics that most get were historical topics to write about, and they were more interested in writing about those. Standard 3, Information and Knowledge. As librarians, we play a role as custodians of information and educators in fostering ethical, equitable access to diverse resources. Librarians collaborate with teachers to align information and knowledge resources with curriculum objectives. By integrating relevant materials, librarians enhance the curriculum's effectiveness and contribute to the overall educational goals of the school. We must teach students how to locate, evaluate, and use information correctly in embedding information not into the lessons. We must promote Information literacy skills, ensuring that students become critical thinkers and discerning users of information. The lessons I chose to use here contribute to fostering the love of reading by curating engaging and age-appropriate materials. Integrating literature into lessons not only supports literature but also nurtures and lifelong appreciation of reading. I collaborated with classroom teachers to create and integrate lessons that seamlessly blend and along with the curriculum. Again, I chose a social studies one. And this is one of the lessons that I did. And this is my Nearpod. Identifying primary and secondary sources, which I feel students struggle with that. So this was definitely something that the teachers enjoyed. And it was interactive with the students as well. Standard 4, advocacy and leadership. A librarian's role as an advocate for dynamic school library programs and positive learning environment is multifaceted and pivotal. By actively collaborating and connecting with teachers, administrators, fellow librarians, and the broader community, librarians foster an environment that prioritizes student learning and achievement. Committed to the continuous learning and professional growth, I take the lead in developing and implementing professional development activities for other educators, ensuring that the entire school community stays abreast of evolving educational practices. Through the network of the library and the community, they tap into the wealth of resources and the best practices. Here I did a presentation for the teachers to show them how to do research, and this was actually done with students as well. It took about an hour and a half to do this lesson, but it talks about how to research, how to find your information, what specifically are you looking for. It helps them to narrow down a topic so that they're not over broadly looking at things and struggling to actually find information that is usable for them. Also taught them about plagiarism. A lot of students didn't understand plagiarism. Just because you change a word doesn't mean that it's still not someone else's thought. So you have to be sure to cite it. So this is the lesson that went along with it, where the students had to create an APA or an MLA paper. And they did get an example of how to do that. Standard 5. Standard 5, Program Management and Administration. I feel like I played a pivotal role in planning, developing, and implementing the evaluation of school library program, aligning them with the overarching mission of our school's library program within the school. My overall vision for implementing this was to create something that the students would love and that the teachers would want to continue to use. Upholding professional ethic and principles of the library science, librarians guide their work with a commitment to intellectual freedom, equality, and privacy, creating an inclusive environment that fosters learning and exploration. In addressing personnel, funding, and facilities, librarians advocate for the resources necessary to maintain an effective library program, ensuring that quality of what's in our library and that the funding is used properly. Here I attached my grant, and I am looking to do an outdoor classroom. This actually is a grant that I'm doing and I have applied for. Last year I did not get the grant, and so I tweaked it and I'm applying for it again. I feel like an outdoor classroom would be somewhere that students would love to come and work. It would have the technology and they would also have access directly to the library. I also included my strategic management plan here because this directly impacts our library and the use of it. Also, here I did my weeding report. That was a lot. This library had stuff in here from the 1970s, and so it felt like there was a lot that needed to be curated and disposed of because students weren't checking it out, and I wanted to find things that were more up to date. Overall, the wealth of information and knowledge gained throughout the program has been instrumental in navigating my role as a media specialist. developing a robust understanding of how to guide students in effectively assessing, evaluating, and utilizing information. The knowledge has proven indispensable in fostering digital literacy and research skills among students. This program instilled a sense of advocacy and leadership, emphasizing the media specialist role as a champion of the library's significance in education. I am reminded that being a media specialist is not just a profession, it's a